I can't really help the feeling that maybe I made a mistake. Maybe coming to the States is a bad idea to start a family. Maybe it's just a better idea to do it somewhere else or just to not do it at all. But nonetheless, here we are, ready to have our kid. I got home from work today and learned that my wife is starting to go through contractions. And we still have a while to go. And this is the kind of therapy. So welcome. It's not easy to actually decide to take that step forward these days in this economy, in this country, in this culture, to move forward with the decision to actually have a family. It seems like a bad idea. And on all accounts, when you run the numbers, it is a bad idea. But like I said, you have to do it at some point, I guess, if it's something that you actually want. Now, there's an argument that can be made that I'm having a midlife crisis. Like I said, maybe, but I would argue that I've been having my midlife crisis since I was about 25, and I make rash calculated decisions. I think is the best way to put it, which doesn't make sense, but life itself doesn't make any sense, so just roll with me. I think it's not an easy decision to make, and there's a lot that goes into it, and it is a scary thing, especially now, especially here. America seems to be hostile to families and to people who want to have families. Everything seems to be set up so you can just live kind of a short, carefree, careless life. Well, definitely not carefree, actually. You have to take great care not to screw up and end up homeless or in incredible debt in America. And that's very real. But I guess the question would be, do I regret it? Do I regret having a family? Do I regret having a family here? Yes. Do I regret having a family? No. I am so excited. We are so excited for what's to come. It's something that I've always wanted. And I know that deep down it's something that most people want. Most people would love to have a kid if they can afford it. And that's the thing now. That's why I wonder if it was a mistake. Are we going to be financially crushed just because we decided to have a family? Maybe, probably, but exit plans. So, always have a backup plan in case you have to bail no matter what you're doing. That is definitely a motto that I've always kind of kept in my life. Always have a fallback plan, have plan B, have plan C, have plan D. But definitely have plan B, especially if you don't want to have a family. But anyway, there just comes a point where you want to have kids. I think, at least for me, you want to have something a little bit more than just a job, more than just going on vacations, more than just existing. You want to have something more than that. I think this is something that I've always wanted. It's something that my wife's always wanted. But why would we come and nest in such a hostile place? I think it's just, you're away from America long enough. You kind of forget that it's not the best place to raise kids. It just isn't. If you're in like a rural area and you're homeschooling and you're living off the grid and you don't actually have to interact with society, or you have the money to actually put your kid into a private school, you're gonna have a stay-at-home wife, we're not gonna be crushed with $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year childcare, yeah, then it's fine. But for most people, no. For most people, having a family in America is a mistake. It is, because you've then signed yourself up for absolute struggle for a minimum of 18 years. And I say a minimum because in our culture now, most kids live with their parents until they're in their mid to late 30s, and they're never going to have kids. So it's just this plague of adult children. And that's what we're going to be in for. And I really don't want that at all. But fortunately, my kid is a dual citizen, and he owes an obligation to serve in the Turkish military. So at 18 years old, guess what, kid? You're out of here. Daddy's going to be free. Daddy and mom are going to go to Vietnam or something like that if we're not already in another country. Because having the kid here is one thing. And I don't think that's a mistake. Healthcare here is expensive. But if you have health insurance, you can survive the childbirth. But raising the kid here, oof, that is a mistake. That's signing yourself up for a woeful amount of debt. And that's not something that I want, right? Because debt is so easy to get in America and it's impossible to get away from. It's just an all-encompassing thing. And you know what? I've got a lot to say about that. And I'm going to save that for the next video. So watch out for that. But how do people do it? Like I said, you kind of have to be poor or rich to raise family in America. Because you're going to get some kind of like subsidized care. Whether it's childcare, whether it's food, maybe even where you live. But for most people, that great majority that exists in the middle, you get no help. You get no handouts. You get nothing. You get judgment. And like I said, it just becomes a very hostile place to even think about starting a family, even considering it. Everyone says it's beautiful, it's wonderful, but nobody's doing it. I work with a lot of people who are in their 20s and in their 30s, and only one of the people I directly work with actually have kids. It used to be a thing that everyone had kids. Now it's like, do you even see them? I think that's one of the interesting things about living back in America is that you don't see kids anywhere really. If you're out in like a rural population, people a little bit more traditional, a little bit more poor, yeah, you're gonna see more kids. But like come to a city, you don't see kids. You see some troubled youths, but you don't see kids. You don't see kids playing at least, because playing outside is almost illegal for parents now. If you didn't know, if you let your kids go out and play, like you can get arrested in some places. It's child abandonment. The days of going outside, hey, coming back when the street lights come back on, those are fixtures. Those are behaviors of a bygone era. And what a great way to be raised that was. Treat your kids in a way that they're going to be independent, that they can just learn to exist without that kind of guidance. Of course, give them guidance, be there for them, but at the same time, give them the kind of freedom to grow, to explore, to have experience, to have adventure, because that's the great thing about being a kid, is that you can have a kind of magic in your life. But no, in this country now, no. You can't do anything like that. Like I said, if you give a kid any kind of liberty, you run a chance of losing your kid, whether it's the state that's going to come get them or some weird degenerate picking them up in a van. The more people we have in this world, the more crazy people we have in this world. And for some reason, America has a higher concentration of strange and weird people than anywhere else on the planet. Another reason why having kids here, or having a family here, is a mistake. Lots of weirdos. Lots of weirdos watching this video. I'm a weirdo. I understand weirdos, but I mean real weirdos. People you don't trust, people you don't want around your family. A lot of them in America. They're everywhere. And you can't really do anything about it. You just got to say, hey, well, they're living their best life. It's like, they may be living their best life, but it's like, well, we're not really having any consideration of the next generation of what they're seeing. I don't mean like your cool art kid or your weird programming friend who got rich on crypto. I mean criminal weirdos. That's the weirdos I'm talking about. And this country is full of them. And we don't even punish them anymore. I mean, at some point you got to remove some people from society, I guess, to like keep the rest of society safe. But I feel like these days, you just kind of let them run rampant. And I think that there's a cost to that. Because like I said, it makes the whole country feel like a hostile place to have kids. I mean, just look at the comment section and probably this video, or any of the videos that I've made, and what's it going to say? You're insane to have a kid here. This place is falling apart. It's spiraling. It's Babylon. And you know what? You have a point. It is. It's all those things. This place is terrible. But if you're just going to have a kid for a couple years, maybe it's not the worst thing. Go into a little bit of debt, I guess. I guess it could be good debt. But at the same time, have your plan B. Have your plan B so you can cut and run when the time comes. Because that time is coming, ladies and gentlemen. That time to cut and run is going to be here. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, we have our emotional and actual go bags ready that when that time comes, we are out of this country. Because everybody's crazy. It doesn't seem like there's any reason to save it. Everything's too expensive. People are broke. People are becoming more desperate. People can't afford to live. People can't afford to have a roof over their head. More people are going to be homeless. It's becoming normal to live in vans now, and that's just homelessness. That is what that is. Like, well, you have a place to lay down. That's a home. I argue that it's not. I think that is a massive cope. And is that what I want my kid to grow up in? Because that's the real thing. When I say, is it a mistake to have a kid here? I mean, for the kid to grow up in. Is our country now a country that we want our children to grow up in? Is it going to get any better than it is now? No, of course it's not. No one in their right mind thinks that this place is going to get better anytime soon, especially over the next 18 years. And those are going to be the formative years of my child's life. I'd much rather him have the opportunity to be in another country that's more stable, more sane, where the currency isn't going to go to shit, and actually be able to live a nice, fruitful life until he's 18 and the Turkish military ships him off. But, you got to grow up sometime, and that's really all that it is. But no, it is an exciting time. And I wanted to make a video because I've been talking about this pregnancy for so long. The birth probably won't happen until either tomorrow or Saturday, but either way, it's coming this weekend, and I am so excited. And I'm excited to share it with you guys because a lot of you guys have been incredibly supportive, and that doesn't go unnoticed. We are very thankful for everything that you guys have been doing with us, and it's helped a lot. The support that we've got from this channel, we've gotten cribs, we've gotten car seats, like everything has essentially gone to the kid. And, that's something I really want to thank you guys for. And for those who have given, understand that, it wasn't just money that was wasted. And thank you. And I'm excited that we're growing. I'm excited that you guys like the content because I like making it, honestly. Number one, it's therapeutic. Number two, a little extra money never hurt anybody. And especially, I really like that you guys are starting to like a lot of the less intellectually intense videos that I'm making. Because listen, I can't be like that all the time. I feel like a lot of you think I just walk around like speaking in soliloquies or analyzing everyone like some autist. But no, that's not how I am. Maybe a little bit on the spectrum, but I'm not a crazy guy. And I like having a good time. And I like having a good time talking to you guys. And, the weird thing is that I've actually come to know a few of you people. I've had people come up to me, which is strange. I'm not even a big channel, but it's happened. And it's weird. And stay away from me. Don't talk to my family. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. As long as you're not hostile. And you're not going to say anything wild or crazy. There's a few of you that are wild and crazy. And you, yes, please stay away. But in general, no. Having this YouTube channel is kind of crazy. And like I said, if you didn't see the last video, hey, we're not in the truck. Welcome to my house. This is my couch. And yeah, we're going to build a nice little set in here because we are stuck in America for probably another 10, 11 months, We're trying to make it so we don't have to go through another winter here. Maybe we can be somewhere else. And if the channel picks up, hey, that's going to give us the ability to, maybe do a little more remote stuff, actually be able to go out, more travel and talk videos, walk and talks, stuff like that, which I love in different places because I know a lot of this country and it's beautiful stuff here. And, this country has some good things with some really shitty things, honestly. But do I think it was a mistake to have a family here in America? I don't think so. I think to raise a family here, if you have the opportunity to do it somewhere else, I think, yeah, that's a mistake. I think that's a mistake, yeah. But actually being here and just having the kid, right, a couple years before you really get into school, even like preschool, kindergarten, maybe, it ain't bad. Just prepare for debt, really. But I mean, if you live in America, you got to prepare for debt anyway. Like I said, another video. Hey, thanks guys. Thanks for stopping by. Like and subscribe. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Get out there, get some sun, and just, hey, be you. Love you guys. Thanks.